The final scene of Pulp Fiction is pure cinematic magic. That sunlit diner where everything comes full circle. The tension is electric as Jules and Vincent, fresh from their adventures, find themselves caught up in Pumpkin and Honeybun's amateur heist. The mysterious briefcase becomes the centerpiece of this delicate dance. It's the kind of ending that sticks with you. The perfect bow on Tarantino's masterpiece. But what most people don't know is that we almost got a much more violent version of this scene. One that might have completely destroyed what makes it so special. Here's where it gets really interesting. Samuel L. Jackson spilled the beans about what Tarantino originally had in mind, and it's pretty insane. In the first draft, when Pumpkin gets curious about what's in the briefcase and takes a peek, things were supposed to go, well, let's just say things were supposed to go very Tarantino. According to Jackson, Jules was supposed to have this violent fantasy where he just loses it. We're talking Honey Bunny getting blown off the bar, Pumpkin meeting a similar fate, all while Jules is having this moment with the briefcase. But then, plot twist, it would all just be in Jules' head. He'd snap back to reality and choose a different path. The thing is though, would that have made the scene better? I mean, think about it. The whole point of Jules' character arc is that he's moving away from violence. He's had this spiritual awakening after surviving what he believes was a divine intervention. The power of the scene as we know it comes from him choosing not to pull the trigger, not from him imagining more bloodshed. What makes this moment so powerful is how it subverts our expectations of both the genre and Tarantino's own style. In a film full of shocking violence, the most impactful moment comes from the absence of it. And let's talk about pacing for a second. By the time we hit that diner scene, we have already been through a wild ride of violence and chaos. The movie doesn't need another shock to the system. What makes the scene work so beautifully is the crackling dialogue between Jules and Pumpkin, that electric tension in their conversation. Adding a violent fantasy sequence would have been like trying to add another guitar solo to Stairway to Heaven. Totally unnecessary and kind of missing the point. But you know what's really interesting? Tarantino himself talked about this kind of thing in a video. He mentioned how sometimes his favorite scenes end up getting cut, not because they're bad, but because they just don't fit the bigger picture. It's like having a fantastic outfit piece that just doesn't work with the rest of your wardrobe. Sometimes you have to make those tough calls for the greater good. This restraint is what elevates the scene from good to legendary. It's a masterclass in character development, showing how Jules has evolved from the man who recited Ezekiel 25:17 before executing someone to a person capable of mercy. The tension doesn't come from wondering if he'll pull the trigger. It comes from watching him actively choose not to. This is where Tarantino shows his true genius as a filmmaker. He understands that sometimes the most powerful moment isn't the bullet that's fired, but the one that stays in the chamber. So here's the big question. Would Pulp Fiction have been better or worse with this more violent ending? Personally, I think Tarantino made the right call. The diner scene is perfect as it is, a masterclass in tension, character development, and thematic payoff. But hey, that's just my take. If you're still hungry for more Tarantino deep dives or just want to hear me ramble about movies in general, check out my other videos. Trust me, they're like a royal with cheese. Unexpectedly satisfying.